let's talk about a problem that is quietly taking over almost every company out there: the absolute explosion of software. I mean, it feels like there's a new app for everything every single day. But how do you actually manage all of it without letting it turn into a complete digital jungle? Well, let's dive in and figure that out. I want to start with just one number: 130. What is that? Well, according to recent data, that's the average number of different software as a service, or SaaS apps, being used by a single organization. Think about that: 130 different tools for your teams to communicate, to collaborate, to get work done. And you guessed it, that number is only going up. So you can imagine that sheer volume of apps creates a huge, but often invisible, challenge for businesses. It's a classic case of too much of a good thing. And this problem, it actually has a name. It's called SaaS Sprawl. And honestly, the best way to think about it is like a garden that's just been left to its own devices. You know, at first, you plant a few useful things. But before you know it, weeds and all sorts of other stuff start popping up everywhere, choking out what you actually need and just making a huge mess of the whole thing. So what's watering this wild garden? Well, the main culprit is something called shadow IT. This is what happens when employees, or even whole departments, sign up for and start using new cloud apps all on their own, completely bypassing the IT department. A team needs a project tool, they just go grab one. Marketing wants a different email client, they buy it. And just like that, the sprawl gets worse and worse. Now, this isn't just about being disorganized. This has a massive financial footprint. Research from Gartner shows that spending on these apps is growing at a staggering 15 to 20% every single year. That is a huge, uncontrolled expense that's basically hiding in plain sight. But believe it or not, the cost isn't even the scariest part. This digital mess comes with a whole host of hidden dangers that go way beyond just the balance sheet. First up, the most obvious one: wasted money. We're talking about redundant subscriptions, right? Where different teams are paying for different tools that do the exact same thing. It's just cash being thrown away on software that's not being used efficiently, if at all. Second, and this is where it gets a lot more dangerous, are the security risks. Every single one of those unvetted applications is a potential backdoor for a data breach. If IT doesn't have oversight, you have no idea how your company's sensitive data is being stored, who has access, or how it's being protected. And third, compliance gaps. I mean, if you don't even know what software your teams are using, how can you possibly guarantee you're meeting legal standards like GDPR in Europe or HIPAA in healthcare? The fines for falling out of compliance can be absolutely massive. Let's make this really concrete, okay? The real impact looks like this. You've got multiple teams paying for different apps that do the exact same thing. You've got licenses that are paid for every month but never get used. You have orphaned accounts for people who left the company ages ago but still have access. And of course, there's the constant threat of a data breach or failing a critical compliance audit. It's a minefield. Okay, the problem is clear. It's expensive, it's risky, it's a mess. So, what's the solution? Well, you get control by building yourself a SaaS command center. Now, the industry's answer to this chaos is a category of tools called SaaS management platforms, or SMPs. And you don't have to take my word for it. Gartner, the big research firm, puts it perfectly. They are standalone tools that provide centralized management and security for multiple SaaS applications through a single admin dashboard. So let's put that in plain English. A SaaS management platform, or SMP, basically acts as a single pane of glass. It's a central command center that gives you a complete top-down view of every single piece of software your company is using. These platforms really boil down to three core jobs. First, they discover. They scan your entire digital footprint to find every single app, especially that sneaky shadow IT. Second, they manage. They pull all your contracts, licenses, and user permissions into one neat place. And third, they optimize. They analyze usage data to show you exactly where you can cut costs and where you need to tighten up security. So let's say you're sold. You need one. But the market for these tools is growing fast. How on earth do you choose the right one for your company's needs? Don't worry, we've put together a smart buyer's checklist. So yeah, how do you choose the right one? The key isn't just finding a tool that solves today's mess, but one that aligns with where your company is going tomorrow. A really solid way to evaluate any software is to look at it through two different lenses. The first is what we call domain knowledge. Does it have the right features, the right functionality to actually solve the technical problem? And the second is industry context. Does it fit with your company's budget, your policies, and your big picture strategic goals? You got to have a yes for both. So, what does that look like in practice? Well, first, you have to look for visibility and integration. The platform absolutely must be able to automatically find everything, and it needs to plug into the systems you already have, like your single sign-on, your finance software, your HR systems, to create that one true dashboard. Next, look for powerful cost optimization features. Can it actually pinpoint those unused licenses so you can get your money back? Can it show you exactly who is spending what and where? And this is a big one. Does it give you automatic alerts for contract renewals so you're never caught off guard and locked into a bad deal? And finally, security and user management. This is non-negotiable. The best SMPs automate the process of giving new employees access and, just as important, instantly revoking that access when they leave. This centralizes all your security policies and gives you the clear audit trails you need to prove you're compliant. But hang on a second. There is a huge, critical warning here. In solving one problem, you have to be really careful not to create a new one, vendor lock-in. The last thing you want is to get trapped by the very tool that was supposed to give you more control and freedom. So, before you sign any contract, you need to ask some tough questions. Like, what's the exit strategy? If we leave, how exactly do we get our data back? And in what format? And maybe the most important, does their platform use open standards that let you connect to anything? Or are they using proprietary APIs designed to keep you stuck with them forever? Because ultimately, getting this right is about so much more than just buying a new IT tool. It's about implementing a core business strategy for the digital age. And you can see exactly where the market is headed. Gartner predicts that by 2026, half of all organizations will be using an SMP to manage their software. That's up from less than 20% back in 2021. This thing is quickly moving from a nice-to-have tool to a standard business practice for any well-run company. Which really leaves us with one final big question to think about. In a world where every company is, in some way, a software company, is managing your digital toolkit just another item on the IT department's to-do list? Or is it something much more fundamental, a core part of your entire business strategy? Something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.